Let's now take a look at our final topic on technology and whether or not we could survive without it. So far, we've looked at how technology affects our society, our environment, and now we're going to take a look at our health. Some positive impacts on human health include better surgical equipment and techniques, such as remote surgery, laparoscopic non-invasive surgery. You may also be able to find other specific surgical equipment that's being used. When an MRI was first built, how useful that became, including X-ray technology, advancements in things such as nutrition and farming and genetically modified food, etc. Manual labor machines to handle heavy jobs, such as forklifts, field plows, trucks, assembly line robots. Many of the things that used to be done by hand are now being done by robots, or at least large machines that may be able to do all that heavy lifting. Even some safety measures in vehicles. So what has changed even in the last 30, 40, maybe even 20 years in vehicles with the usage of airbags and the invention of seatbelts? Okay? Back in the 70s or even the 80s, the 1980s, there were seats in the front seat of many sedans, okay, right in the middle. Okay, so you'd have three seats across the middle, and not always did they have seat belts. And even back then, there were no airbags. Some negative impacts on human health might include the dependency on tech, which can lead to an addiction, the lack of physical activity or even self-confidence, limited social interactions, physical degradation, so eye strain, back, carpal tunnel syndrome, etc., and exposure to constant bombardment of electromagnetic waves and various forms of radiation. This has been studied at length, and you may be able to find some information on it. Even accidents due to distraction. This happens on a regular basis. Okay, people driving cars using their phones, they are distracted by those phones and it causes accidents. Take a minute and brainstorm ways technology impacts our health and environment. Some things you might want to talk about: individual and public health. So the levels of physical activity, the exposure to various forms of radiation and electromagnetic waves, or other addiction problems that or problems that may come from addiction. You might also look up some better surgical equipment and even analysis tools. So I talked about an MRI machine or an X-ray machine. Okay, those are things that have really impacted our health. Go back to the Resley now and add to the discussion.